Hi everyone, I hope you're well. It's me back at the Vice. Super simple pattern for you today, and one that catches a lot of fish. It is an olive buzzer, or chironomid I guess, the pupae of the non-biting midge over here in the UK. Olive's a great pattern for me as we head into the hotter summer months. It just works in the clear waters, certainly of the Midlands reservoirs where I fish. As I said, it's simple to tie. What I have in the vise is a Togen Nymph Competition barbless in size 12. The body is going to be olive thread of your choice. This is Vivus, I think. Over the top of the body we are going to add this stuff, which is buzzer wrap. It adds a nice sheen to this actually, and this is Grapham olive cover. And then the cheeks are going to be this stuff, which is Amber Flexifloss, or Spanflex, or whatever you want to call it. So let's crack on and tie this bad boy. As I said, nice and easy. We just want to lay down a good bed of thread, and it's important to get a good bed of thread, certainly for this pattern, because the body is thread. So we want to make sure there's no lumps and bumps. We've got nice, level, touching turns all the way down, all the way back up. I like my buzzers quite slim. If you like chunky, then by all means do several layers of thread just to fatten it up a bit. I tend not to, and it doesn't really change my catch rate, which is why I tend not to. We're then going to catch in the buzzer wrap on my side of the hook, so facing you as you do it. We're going to go all the way back down. We're going to go all the way back up again. And then we are going to snip off the excess at the front. Super simple so far, right? We are now going to coat the entire body with this buzzer wrap, and it's plastic of a sort, a mylar of a sort, whatever you want to call it. It is slippery, so just take your time, make sure you do touching or slightly overlapping turns. So talk amongst yourselves whilst I do this. I just want to make sure I get it nice and even. And this just doesn't add any brightness to it, but as I say, it just adds a certain sheen, possibly a hint of the gases that buzzers use to ascend the water column. And when you coat it in varnish as well, it adds a certain colour that thread itself just doesn't bring. And I'm going to take this all the way up because we're going to create a slightly bulbous thorax, so I may as well use this material to add bulk to that thorax. Please excuse my hands. You get bulk where you can when you're creating these bulbous thoraxes, so do that, snip off the excess. And now it's just a question really of building up the thorax, to the size that you like. Proportions wise, we're looking for 2/3 of the hook shank as the body, 1/3 as the thorax. And when you think you've got kind of where you want to be, it's time for those Spanflex cheeks. So I've cut off a length, as you can see. And what I like to do is put it either side of the thread, like that. And that puts it on the bottom. And then you can pull it tight. Whoopsie daisy. That's not ideal, is it? Tighten my vise slightly. There we go. Pulled too hard on that one. But it just allows you to pull down. There we go. I think I'm comfortable with that. And you know that then both are in exactly the same position, and you can go back and just create, whether you like a rugby ball shaped, a wedge shape, whatever shape thorax you like, as fat as you like as well. You've got to fish this fly, you've got to have confidence in what you're fishing. And then I'm just going to stick in a quick whip finish here, just to save the work, make sure nothing comes undone. There we go. And it's now just a question really of bringing those cheeks forwards, and you want to bring them up and over the top. So I'm just going to do one wrap there like that. Doesn't really make too much difference. I'm not going to do that at all. I'm going to undo that. See, if you don't like it, undo it. Bring both forwards at the same time. Just make sure you're happy with how they're sitting. I want that one a bit further round. That's what I want. That shape there. And then when you're happy, a couple of cinching wraps, a couple of wraps in front, another couple of cinching wraps, and then you can snip off the excess. And if you give it a slight tug, the waste piece will almost slip back under that thread, which means you can then do a couple of turns. You can whip finish, and you're not left with any unsightly junk hanging over the eye. Give it a tug. Snip off your thread. And all that needs now is a coat of varnish, which I can do because my varnish, unsurprisingly, or surprisingly rather, not usually to hand, is to hand. I was finishing off a few buzzers for a friend of mine as part of an order. So I'm just going to coat all of that. As you can see, it's dull and uninspiring as far as we're concerned, but I find certainly in the summer months the fish are mad for it. There we go. And what I'll do is once that's dried, I'll come in and do 2 or 3 more coats of that just to harden it up, and you're left with something quite spectacular. I hope you enjoyed that. Feel free to let me know how you get on. Reach out via Togens, reach out on Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining.